And the Mavericks just fought back, and they get a big-time win here at Chase Center.
Man, that was a big win. The Warriors definitely going to be kicking themselves for this loss right here, being up 20, end up finding a way to lose this game. But Spencer Dinwiddie, that bench, they came up big time for the Dallas Mavericks, and they end up getting the win. I think the Warriors got a little too stagnant with their offense, a lot of one-on-one basketball instead of the ball movement that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, it was a tough loss, no question, Bonte. And you got to give the Dallas Mavericks a lot of credit. They were really struggling. Looked like they were getting ready to give up. But Spencer Dinwiddie came in the game and flipped that game around. I give a lot of credit to Jason Kidd for sticking with Dinwiddie to get them back in the game. When he brought Luka back in the game, Luka was sharing the basketball, letting Dinwiddie run the show and playing off the ball. But the Dallas Mavericks made all the big plays. They were driving the basketball, played out in transition. They got, we talked pregame about their lack of bench depth.
Right.
But they had enough guys to come in and flip this game around at halftime.
Yeah, Spencer Dinwiddie, 24 points off the bench, 10 of 14 from the floor, 5 assists, 4 rebounds. And since he's been with the Mavericks, Davis Bertans and Spencer Dinwiddie have been a perfect fit to play alongside Luka Doncic. Bertans missed a lot of wide-open threes. He was only 2 of 6, but Dinwiddie flipped this game in the fourth quarter. 23-1 run again. They go up 97 to 94. They were down 93 to 74, and the Warriors had won 62 straight games when they led by at least 20 points. So you think about the Denver game right before the All-Star break. They lost 4 or 5 going into the break. You lose this game to start this 8-game gauntlet. Not a good loss for the Golden State Warriors at all.
Not a good loss at all, fellas, but Spencer Dinwiddie put that team on his back. Luka Doncic was kind of struggling, turning the ball over a few times. They gave the ball to Spencer Dinwiddie, and he made the right plays down the stretch, making big threes, getting to the basket, and also finding guys around the perimeter.
Yeah, early in the game, Doncic was stuck on 12 points and 1 assist. And and it seemed like his teammates were losing interest in the game.
Yep.
Dinwiddie came in. Not only did he get himself going, I thought he included his teammates in a good way. And you show those clips, and this is a constant theme with the Warriors, containing people off the dribble.
Yes.
So Dinwiddie was attacking the paint, either to finish for himself, or when he collapsed that defense, he found open shooters.
Yeah, points in the paint. The Mavericks were able to close the gap on the Golden State Warriors. Warriors had the advantage 50 to 46 as they suffer their 7th home loss of the season. And let's check out Luka in that fourth quarter, because as you mentioned, Mully, 12 points at the half for Luka Doncic. He had 1 assist and 3 rebounds at the half. He was 3 of 10, but he took over late in his game like superstars do and finished out of nowhere. Even though he had the 9 turnovers, 34 points, 11 rebounds, with only 2 assists, but he found a way to get it done tonight, D-Right?
He definitely did. And that last post-up right there against Steph Curry, that was a big shot. It was a 1-point game. He got to his spot. He just turned right over using his 6'8" frame and using his body. And we all know he can get to the basket. So he definitely closed that game out and having a big assist with that corner 3.
Well, when Luka checked out of the game, the Warriors were dominated.
Yeah.
And when he checked back in the game, there's the worst-case scenario was he came in as the closer. They were 1-point difference, and he made all the big plays. We saw him with a few assists. We saw the back-down post-up over Steph. But you got to give all the credit to Spencer Dinwiddie.
No doubt.
He flipped that game around, got the energy on the Dallas Mavericks side, and then you had your superstar come in and close it.
We saw Luka complaining over and over again in that first half. And then in the third quarter, he didn't get a couple foul calls. He wasn't running back on defense. But as you mentioned, Mully and D, right, Jason Kidd stuck with the guys who got him back into the game. Green, who's Mr. Green? He came in and had some big-time layups during that 23-1 run as well. So the Warriors, they suffered this loss here to the Mavericks. 12 of 20 from the free throw line. We keep talking about free throw shooting for the Warriors. 8 missed free throws in a game like this. When you lose by 6, that's the difference in the ball game.
Most definitely, especially with a team that shoots the basketball so well around the perimeter. They have to make their free throws, so it's got to be something they got to do on a downtime. Get those free throws in 50 to 100 a day, because down the stretch in the playoffs, it's all about situational basketball and fouling and doing things like that. So you got to be able to go up to that line and knock the free throws down.
Yeah, and of course, the missed points at the free throw line is a huge factor. And also, I think it has an impact on how you attack the basket. When you're not shooting the free throw well, you're not as aggressive. You're avoiding contact as opposed to seeking out contact and going to the free throw line, and they're free throws. I mean, it's automatic. The Warriors have several players shooting in the low 60s, 5 or 6 players under 70%. They need to change that between now and playoff time.
No doubt about that. One guy who does get to the line is Jordan Poole, but tonight he only had two free throw attempts. Jordan Poole tonight, 4 free throw attempts for Jordan Poole. He only finished with 4 points, though. 0-7 from the floor, 0-4 from the three-point line. So the Warriors needed him to give them a boost of energy. But we got all night long to talk about that. Let's go to Kareth Burke via WebEx by Cisco, who's sitting by inside of Chase Center here. And KB, what a monumental loss for the Dakota State Warriors. We all had different scripts. Beat writers had to rewrite their stories. And you had a group text that was popping off. Let me hear about that, because I'm more interested about that than the Warriors put its 21-point lead.
Well, it's my family group text, first of all. So my family is up in Washington State. We watch the games together. They know that I'm here. They're either watching on League Pass or when the games go national. We've got little observations, little jokes flying during the game. Started to get real quiet in that fourth quarter, and then my mom fires off a text that was one word: meltdown. She's exactly right. Mom, you got it. Well, how else do you describe this? It's a meltdown. And then as I came to watch the end of this game on TV for the last minutes, I saw the runs flashing on the screen that our broadcasters had. It was a 23-1 run, and then it was a 30-5 run. It just felt worse and worse this game. A meltdown. And then reviewing some of the buckets as you go through the fourth quarter, you could see these big chunks of text where Steve Kerr was subbing in big groups of players, taking out groups of players, trying to find any combination that could get some kind of scoring in this game, and the Warriors didn't have it. The massive droughts in the fourth quarter. And then, guys, what I thought my story was going to be about when the Warriors had a 21-point lead was the way that the ball was moving, kind of carrying things on from the Portland game. There was a stat that I noticed that when the Warriors have 30 or more assists, they are 21-1. So I was like, yeah, ball's moving really well tonight. Steph had 10 assists. And you see all of that stopped late in this game. The Warriors finished with 27 assists, and what we have is an L.
A big L. Shades of the Denver game right before the All-Star break, and they only score 13 points in the fourth quarter. 13, the team with Steph Curry, of course. Bad loss. They got to regroup quickly, because this road trip coming up, KB, is no joke. At Minnesota, at Dallas against the same Mavericks team. Then they got the Lakers Saturday night. Oh, and by the way, you have to go to Denver twice next week. Brutal stretch coming up for the Warriors,
yeah.
KB.
My mom says hi, guys. Just want you to know.
Hi, Mom.
Hey, Mom.
Hi, Mrs. Burke. How you doing? Thanks, KB, for that one. We'll talk to you a little bit later in the post-game show. Let's talk about Steph Curry, though, coming off the All-Star break. Had a very solid game in Portland, 18 points, 14 assists. Did not play in the fourth quarter. He got back up to 10 assists tonight, 27 points, 3-10 from the three-point line, 11-25. Wasn't the most efficient night, although I thought Steph Curry started to put his imprint on his game in the third quarter, D, right?
Yeah, he definitely did. And I think Steph Curry does a great job with making the right reads and right plays off the high pick and roll. He understands teams are going to double him and zone up on the rest of the team. He does a great job of getting that ball to the guy in the middle and letting that guy be a playmaker. But like you also mentioned, Vontae didn't make, some of the shots that's usually easy for him, but I still